There's an enormous amount of positive PR that comes from doing the right thing. A really good example of this is the recent decision by Toyota to return their JobKeeper cash back to the government. This was met with a really positive response from the business community and also a range of business media. And then to support the old adage that good PR is driven by what others say about you rather than what you say about yourself, there was a second round of positive media coverage which was driven by the Prime Minister and other cabinet members saying how they thought what Toyota and other corporates were doing was a really good, positive decision. It got me thinking that good corporate PR is easier for companies that operate in some sectors than others. So if you think about medical manufacturers, known colloquially in various settings as Big Pharma, they've had a rather checkered history in terms of their corporate reputation. But it's been fascinating to watch that reframed through the whole COVID environment as we've come to see more references to big manufacturers via public discussions and via the media. Who could have predicted that pharmaceutical companies have almost become household names as the public discussion about our response to the pandemic has continued? But it's still a bit of a challenge there, and those of us who work in medical PR know very well of the kind of response you get from journalists and other stakeholders sometime when you're trying to brief them on something positive, because they see it as coming essentially from a negative sector like Big Pharma. Never mind that we're trying to brief those journalists on how much pharmaceutical companies give to early career scientists or how much they spend supporting young medical researchers, and overall the fact that they're pretty much saving the world with the development of vaccines and treatments for COVID. There's still this kind of lingering negativity about whether we can really trust Big Pharma. It's quite tricky for the medical companies because they, like most commercial operators, are used to operating in the background a bit. They're not used to the public glare so much. Typically they would have years in which to develop vaccines. I think the shortest vaccine before the COVID-19 vaccine took 4 years, and now the companies have been expected to turn around a completely new vaccine and have indeed turned around a new vaccine in less than a year. But with that comes challenges to explain how long it normally takes, challenges to explain the reality of the international supply chains at a time when their product is in such incredible demand. From a communications perspective, the companies have just got to focus on what they have been doing, and that is use it as an opportunity to educate, talk about the realities of supply chains, manage expectations along the way, keep a really sharp focus on the most needy and those who need the products most, and overall be transparent through the process. It sounds easy, but it's tricky when you're Big Pharma and you've got a bit of excess baggage to carry. The communications leads at these companies need to remember that the companies are, in very trying circumstances, trying as hard as they can to do the right thing. And that is going to generate enormous opportunities for companies to explain to consumers and other stakeholders how the industry works and what it truly delivers.